Samuel Foster had learned many things during his years as a diplomat. But the most important lesson was simple. A normal day could become very strange, very quickly, especially when that day started on another planet. The transport shuttle slowly descended through the pale atmosphere of Luminina Prime. Outside the window, the world looked like a dream made of crystal. Mountains of transparent crystal rose from the ground like frozen waves. Sunlight passed through them and exploded into thousands of colors. Samuel leaned toward the window. Even after traveling across many star systems, some planets still made him feel like a child seeing the universe for the first time. "Beautiful, isn't it?" the pilot said through the cabin speaker. Samuel nodded. "It looks like someone dropped a giant chandelier on a planet." The pilot laughed. "That's actually one of the better descriptions." Samuel smiled quietly and adjusted his uniform collar. Then his hand touched something familiar beneath the fabric. A small metal medallion. He held it gently. For 25 years, the medallion had never left him. Some people carried photographs. Some carried lucky coins. Samuel carried a piece of metal given to him by a girl whose name he never knew. The memory came back clearly. Smoke. Crowds. Sirens. And fear. He had been 9 years old. The evacuation station had been chaos. Humans and aliens were running everywhere while soldiers shouted orders that no one could follow. Samuel had been separated from his parents in the crowd. He held a metal railing so tightly his fingers hurt. He was sure he had been forgotten. Sure he would be left behind. That was when the girl appeared. She looked almost human, except for her long ears that curved gently behind her hair. Even in the middle of chaos, she looked calm. She walked straight toward him. She studied his frightened face. Then she placed something small in his shaking hand. "This will keep you safe," she said. 9-year-old Samuel didn't believe her. At that moment, a large army or a miracle would have felt more useful. But he kept the medallion anyway. Because she believed it. The shuttle shook gently as it landed. Samuel blinked and returned to the present. Below him, the capital city of Luminina Prime shined like a living jewel. Crystal towers stretched into the sky. Light flowed through them like rivers. The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. Outside, several tall alien officials waited. Their long ears confirmed they belonged to the native species of Luminina Prime. One of them stepped forward. "Diplomat Samuel Foster," the official said politely. "Welcome to Luminina Prime." Samuel stepped down and nodded respectfully. "Thank you. I have to say, your planet is incredible." He looked around at the endless crystal structures. "If any of your buildings accidentally fall over," he added, "humanity would like to volunteer to collect the pieces." The officials stared at him. Samuel waited. After a few seconds, one younger official laughed quietly. The tension immediately softened. Samuel smiled. Diplomacy often worked best when people remembered they were allowed to laugh. Soon they entered a floating transport vehicle. The vehicle moved silently through the city. Samuel tried not to stare like a tourist. He failed completely. Crystal towers glowed softly from within. Small drones floated between buildings. Glowing particles drifted through the air like snow. "What are those?" Samuel asked. "Luminal fragments," the official replied. "Natural crystal particles in our atmosphere." Samuel nodded. "So your sky is made of shiny science." "That is an acceptable description." The vehicle approached the royal palace. Samuel had seen pictures before. But the real thing was far more impressive. The palace wasn't one building. It was an entire mountain of crystal towers fused together. Sunlight passed through the structure and turned the air into waves of color. Samuel whistled quietly. "All right," he said. "I officially withdraw my chandelier comment." Guards in reflective armor stood at the entrance. Samuel straightened his posture. Diplomat mode activated. He walked through the palace halls, surrounded by glowing crystal walls. Energy streams flowed through the structure like veins of light. Eventually they entered a large chamber. A long crystal table stood in the center. Advisors sat on both sides. And at the far end of the room stood a woman. She had long ears and calm authority. Queen Arya. Samuel bowed. Your Majesty. Her eyes studied him carefully. Diplomat Samuel Foster. Welcome to Luminina Prime. They sat across from each other. The meeting began with normal diplomatic discussion. Trade routes. Navigation corridors. Energy exchange. Samuel spoke calmly and confidently. But something strange kept happening. The medallion around his neck felt warm. Warmer than it had ever been. Finally Queen Arya noticed. You have touched that object several times, she said quietly. Samuel pulled the medallion from beneath his uniform. My good luck charm. She stared at it. Where did you obtain it? Samuel leaned back slightly. That is a long story. We have time, she said. Samuel sighed softly. I got it during an evacuation 25 years ago. The room grew quiet. There was a girl there, Samuel continued. Long ears. Queen Arya suddenly became very still. She gave it to me, Samuel said. She told me it would keep me safe. Silence filled the chamber. Queen Arya slowly stood. May I see it? She asked softly. Samuel slid the medallion across the table. She picked it up carefully. Her fingers traced the engraved symbol. Then something shocking happened. A tear rolled down her cheek. The advisors froze. Samuel blinked in confusion. That usually doesn't happen, he said carefully. Queen Arya whispered one sentence. You kept it. Samuel nodded slowly. Of course I did. She looked at him. You were holding the railing, afraid. Samuel felt a chill. How do you know that? She raised the medallion. Because I gave this to you. Samuel stared. The room fell completely silent. Finally he leaned back and sighed. Well, he said slowly. This meeting just became significantly more interesting. The council chamber remained silent. The advisors looked shocked. Samuel stared at the Queen. You're telling me, he said slowly, that the brave alien girl who saved a terrified human child. He pointed at himself. Was you? Queen Arya nodded gently. I never knew your name, she said. Samuel laughed softly. And I never knew yours. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. 25 years of memory filled the space between them. Finally Samuel rubbed the back of his neck. Well, he said, I suppose I should thank you properly. Queen Arya smiled faintly. You already did. Samuel tilted his head. I did. You survived. The advisors looked between them in disbelief. One finally spoke. Your Majesty, is this truly the same medallion? Arya turned it over in her hand. I remember carving the symbol myself, she said quietly. My tutors were very unhappy. Samuel chuckled. I'm glad you ignored them. She looked back at him. For 25 years I wondered if that frightened boy survived. Samuel spread his hands. Well, good news. The Queen laughed. It was a real laugh this time. Slowly the tension in the room disappeared. The advisors relaxed. The meeting continued. But now the atmosphere had changed. This was no longer just diplomacy. This was history reconnecting. They continued discussing trade routes and cooperation. Human technology could help stabilize dangerous hyperspace corridors. Luminina crystal energy could power new human colonies. Together, their civilizations could explore regions of space neither could reach alone. Hours passed. Finally the holographic star map faded. The treaty was complete. One advisor nodded. The agreement is mutually beneficial. Samuel smiled. That's diplomatic language for everyone is happy. The advisors left the chamber. Soon only Samuel and Queen Arya remained. She stood. Walk with me. They stepped onto a balcony overlooking the Crystal City. The sun was setting. Golden light flowed through the crystal towers. For a moment they simply watched the horizon. I wondered about you, Samuel said quietly. The girl from the evacuation. Arya nodded. I wondered about the boy too. Samuel tapped the medallion. When you gave me this, I thought it was magic. And now? She asked. Samuel smiled. Now I think it's something stronger. Stronger than magic. Yes. Kindness. Arya studied him. You became a diplomat. Samuel sighed dramatically. Yes. Terrible career choice for someone who likes quiet days. She laughed. You negotiated peace between two civilizations today. Samuel pointed to the medallion. I had help. The wind carried glowing crystal particles across the balcony. Arya looked out across her world. For 25 years, she said softly, I wondered if that small moment mattered. Samuel looked at her. It mattered more than you know. She raised an eyebrow. How so? Samuel smiled. That day taught me something important. What? That kindness can travel farther than ships. He tapped the medallion again. A small act saved a scared child. That child grew up. And now two civilizations are allies. Arya smiled slowly. Then perhaps my tutors were wrong. Samuel nodded. Very wrong. Below them the city lights began to glow. Crystal towers shined like stars. Two lives that met in chaos had found each other again. Across time. Across space. Samuel placed the medallion back under his uniform. For 25 years it had protected him. Now its work was finished. But its story had just begun. Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change the future of entire worlds. And sometimes, a frightened child with a small piece of metal can grow up to bring peace to the galaxy.
On est encore
Jean Coutu, il y a un Moors. Il y a tellement de vent, on voit mon gros front.
Mais là, je me demande, c'est quoi le magasin que tu avais vu?
Je sais pas c'était où, j'ai aucune
non plus.
petite idée. Salade de légumes. Moi, je serais allée voir le d'autre qui fait de la musique, mais c'est juste... j'aurais fait une petite danse.
Ouais, non, je pense que c'est un sans-abri.
Un sans-abri qui a un gros crise de speaker qui fait plus de son que mon speaker que j'ai chez moi. C'est un sans-abri qui a beaucoup d'argent.
C'est Montréal?
Il y a des sans-abri riches.
I mean... C'est Montréal? Greatest city in the world.
Non.
Ouais,
Par
ben
contre,
oui.
ouais,
Non,
t'abuses,
je suis
toi.
désolée.
Non, elle
Montréal,
abuse.
c'est la meilleure ville au monde.
OK, non.
Montréal, c'est fucking nice, surtout en été. En fait, non. C'est nice que en été.
OK, excusez-moi. Brodeur, t'abuses.
Non,
En
non.
vrai, un sans-abri riche, c'est ça que tu dis, là.
Ben, yo, il y a ça
Attends,
dans
machallah.
Non,
La dame est algérienne, guys. Donc, elle parle arabe.
Ah
Est-ce que tu es musulmane?
oui.
OK. Donc, tu pratiques la religion?
Ouais.
OK, parfait. Quand je pose des questions, c'est que j'essaie tout le temps de tout savoir parce qu'on dirait que des fois, là, t'es bien perdu puis t'es comme, tu parles le musulman.
Ouais, puis je viens de la musulmanie.
C'est déjà fait dire ça?
Ça, ouais, ben trop souvent.